Yo guys, this is Ethan, and today I'm just going to be doing a short little tutorial on classes in Python. So essentially what a class is, what it represents, an easier way to understand it, possibly phrase it in a way that you guys understand, and just how you can implement it in your own programs and just, hopefully learn something. So let's just make our own little program here, and we're gonna call it class.py, and then, well, what is a class? So a class is essentially a group of set things about an object. So, well, let's just phrase this tutorial in a little way that you guys might understand. So, or a little easier to understand. So, let's do it about cans. About the cans that I have sitting on my desk, whether they're empty or full, monster or mother or sparkling duet, it doesn't matter. So I've got 5 cans sitting on my desk. 4 of them are empty, 1 of them's full, and there's 3 different brands. But all of those cans share similar properties. Every can has a name. For instance, 2 of the cans are Mother, 2 of them are Monster, and 1 is Sparkling Duet. Now, all 4 cans have a size. 4 of them are 500ml and 1's 330. And all 5 cans also have a flavour. Some sunrise, some zero, some tropical blast, some kicked apple. You know the drill. And we can also put in a value for if they're full or not. So how do we define a class in Python? So we're just going to go class, and then we're going to call it can. And then a little something we're going to pull up here is we're going to go def underscore init, and then we're going to put brackets, pass through self. So essentially what self represents in a class is what this instance also. So if we're referring back to cans, self is what is this can, what is the properties of this can, what is this can's name, what is this can's size. So essentially the class can represents just the generic, and then self represents a singular can. So the class represents any can, self in this instance represents a singular can. So we're going to go self, and then I want a can name, and then I also want a can size, and I want is empty. So we're just going to go like this, and we're going to go self.name equals to name. We're going to go self.size equal to size. We're going to go self.isEmpty equal to isEmpty. Now, you might be wondering, why don't we just use the variables as they are instead of going self.name? Why don't we just leave it as a name? Well, because a can represent any can, because it's generic. We need to specialize what we're talking about. We need to say, I'm talking about this can. I'm talking about this white monster can. So let's put a color in there as well. So we'll just go color, and then we'll go self.color equal to color. Now, you might be wondering what can I do with this? And so I'm just going to put some code down here, and we're just going to make a new can. So I'm going to make a can for all 3 brands. So can1 equals to, and so this is how you create a new instance. Generally this is done for you in the program. So we're going to go can. Now what's the name? Mother. And then what's the size? 500ml. Now something we could do here is we could have this as an integer. So we'll do that actually, and we'll go 500, and then we're just going to put a comment here saying we expect this to be in mil. That way we can have it as an integer and we can perform addition on it. And then what's the color? Well, I'm looking at my mother kicked apple at the moment, so that's green. And then, is it empty? No, that's the one full can, so that's going to be true. And so now if I just run this code, you see it just returns, so that means it's worked fine. And so then, why don't we make something specific to this can? What if I wanna print name, and then so we just want to print the name of the can, right? So we're gonna pass through self. So those of you thinking we pass through name, we don't want to do that because we're talking about this one can. We're not talking about the generic can. So we're gonna pass through self, and that essentially gives us all the details that we specified up here. So these 4 values, they're all in self. So we can work with self. We can go print. I'm going to use an F string here. You guys might be using it as a concatenation using a plus or dot format. I like to use F strings. So we're going to go, the name of this can is, boom, curly brackets, we're going to go self dot name. And so then down here we can go can1 dot print name. And so that's a class method, so we just call it like a function. Press F5 and now it's printed out. The name of this can is mother. So what if I want to make another can? Can2. Will this be exactly the same as the one above? No, so I'm going to call this can monster. It is the same size, except this one is orange and it is empty. So I've just noticed that. So that's actually meant to be false because it's not empty. And then we can go can2 dot print name. And so essentially these are 2 different cans, but they're using the same generic sequence of events. So every can's got a name, a size, a color, and whether or not it's empty. And then for each can you can be more specific. So this is my mother can, this is my monster can. And when we print this out, you'll see that they print 2 different things. And that's perfect for what we want. So think of this in the assignment as different controllers. So can1 is your north controller, can2 is your east controller. They both work off the same functions, so let's say you want to make a new traffic light function, just put it in your class for controller, and then every controller item down here, such as the can, will have it. And then, what if I want to print whether or not this is empty? So we'll go def print is empty. Pass through self. This is just like normal functions, except they pass through self. And so then we're just going to go print. Well, we'll make this into an if statement since we've got a boolean. So if self dot is empty equals to true. So if the can is empty, print I am an empty can. And then we'll put a nice else statement in here, so if the can is still full or it's still got something in it, we'll just go print I am not yet empty. Slope. So then let's call can2 dot print is empty. So what do you expect to happen? Well, we'll bring this over here as well, and then we can just simply run on both. So what do you expect to happen? For my mother can, which is false, I expect it to say I am not empty yet, because, well, it's still sealed, it's still got stuff in it. But for the monster can, I expect it to say that yes, I am an empty can, because I've passed through true. So now if we run this, we can see that's exactly what happens. So we've got I am not yet empty, slurp, and then we've got the name of this can as monster, and I am an empty can. Let's just put another print statement in here to keep it nice, because that puts a new line character automatically. Cool, that's all we wanted. Now, what if I want to change something? Well, maybe I stuffed up the size, so let's go def set size self. And then what are we going to do? So if I just go self dot size equal to, well, what is it going to be equal to? We've got no other number to change it to, and this is where you accept a value. So we'll just go self, and then we'll put new size. Now let's just make a function that lets us print the size of the can. Def print size. This one only needs self because we're not changing anything. We'll just go print I am a, put in self.size here, mil can. So now if we just go can1 dot print size, and let's just copy that across down to can2 as well. Press F5, run my code. So they're both 500 ml cans. So let's make a third can actually. We'll go change the name to Sparkling Duet. Color is still orange. 500. It's empty. Yep. Cool. But we need to change the name so we don't have a conflicting variable. So now I've got 3 different types of cans. Press F5. Cool. So that's all. Well, it's not 500 mils. So this is a good way to show it. So we're just going to go can3 dot set size, and this takes one parameter. So self doesn't count when you're passing things through. That gets passed through automatically. So you don't have to worry about that. However, since we've defined new size here, we do have to pass this through. So we're just going to go and change it to 330. So we can go can3.print size. So I am a 500 ml can. That's incorrect. Then I change the size to 330 mils and then print it out again. It's perfect. But I don't like the fact that this is setting it without telling me. So I just go print string. I am now a self.size mil can. So we should see the change happen. So it's gone, I am a 500 ml can here. So it's gone, I'm a 500 ml can and print size. We've changed it to 330 using set size here. So it's changed the self value, self.size. And then we're just printing out, I am now a 330 ml can. And then down here in print size, we can see that self.size has indeed been set to 330 mils because it is saying I am a 330 ml can. Now, in terms of classes, I believe that's a nice quick explanation. There's not too much you need to do. Stay tuned, and I will release a threading video later on, and that will be in regard to running a couple of blocking code functions on each other, which is a thing that occurs if you try to run 2 lights on different controllers, so different controller classes in your assignment. You will need to run them on threading, otherwise one goes and the next one goes, but I'll explain that in the next video. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you enjoyed the little tutorial, yeah.